Number 12. The super sleeper gene. Ever wake up feeling like you've been hit by a truck, even after a solid 8 hours? Or maybe you're the kind of person who bounces out of bed after a mere 4, ready to conquer the world while the rest of us are still deciding if coffee is a food group. Well, congratulations. You might be a card-carrying member of the short sleeper club, courtesy of a delightful little genetic quirk. We're talking about the DECTA gene mutation. A microscopic party animal that basically tells your body, sleep is for the weak. Let's get this bread. Most of humanity needs a good 7 to 9 hours of shut-eye to function like a semi-competent human. But if you've got this particular genetic lottery win, you can thrive on significantly less. Imagine the sheer, unadulterated productivity. While your friends are still dreaming about synchronized swimming with giant burritos, you've already filed your taxes, learned Mandarin, and probably built a miniature replica of the Eiffel Tower out of paper clips. The downside? You'll probably spend a good chunk of your life confused by how exhausted everyone else seems. Like you're living in a world populated entirely by sloths in slow motion. Basically, your internal clock is running on rocket fuel, while everyone else's is powered by a slightly deflated balloon. Number 11. The unsinkable bone density. Have you ever tripped over absolutely nothing? Performed a dazzling mid-air pirouette and landed with the grace of a gazelle, only to realize later that you didn't even bruise. Or perhaps you're the person who everyone calls when they need a jar opened. Not because you're particularly strong, but because your grip feels like it could crush diamonds. You might be blessed with unusually high bone density, a genetic trait that basically turns your skeleton into a superhero costume. We're talking about a mutation in the LRP5 gene, which in some delightful cases leads to bones so dense they could probably stop a small caliber bullet. Not that we recommend testing that theory. While the rest of us are worrying about osteoporosis and carefully navigating icy sidewalks like we read defusing a bomb, you're practically built like a human tank. You can take a tumble down a flight of stairs and emerge with nothing more than a slightly ruffled ego. The only real drawback? You might sink like a stone if you ever try to swim without a flotation device. Just remember, with great bone density comes the great responsibility of not accidentally breaking everything you touch. Number 10. The cilantro conundrum. Have you ever been at a fancy taco joint, eagerly anticipating that burst of fresh flavor, only to take a bite and suddenly feel like you've been transported to a soap factory? If so, welcome to the exclusive club of cilantro haters, a group whose disdain for the herb isn't just a preference, it's a genetic destiny. For about 10 to 20% of the population, cilantro tastes like dish soap, dirt, or even an aggressive metallic temps. This isn't some quirky psychological aversion. It's all thanks to a fascinating little collection of olfactory receptor genes, specifically the OR6A2 gene. These genes are responsible for detecting the aldehyde chemicals naturally present in cilantro. For most people, those aldehydes contribute to that bright, citrusy note that foodies rave about. But for you, the lucky recipient of this genetic gift, those same chemicals trigger a powerful, unpleasant aroma. It's like your brain's smell-o-meter is calibrated entirely differently for this one plant. So while your friends are happily munching on their salsa, blissfully unaware of your soapy torment, you're basically a human litmus test for genetic variation. Don't worry, it's not you, it's your DNA, throwing a very specific, herbaceous tantrum. Number 9. The supertaster sensitivity. Imagine a world where every flavor is amplified, where a hint of bitterness in your coffee feels like a full-blown assault, and a sprinkle of salt on your fries tastes like you're licking a salt lick. Sounds exhausting, right? To the life of a supertaster, a person with an unusually high number of taste buds, particularly those for bitter compounds. This isn't just about being picky. It's a genetic lottery win involving the TAS2R38 gene. Oh. If you have 2 dominant copies of this gene, congratulations. Your tongue is basically a highly sensitive, overcaffeinated alarm system for flavors. This means you might find broccoli incredibly bitter, black coffee an undrinkable nightmare, and certain strong cheeses an absolute abomination. On the flip side, you probably appreciate subtle nuances in food that others completely miss. While your friends are happily shoveling down bland fare, you're experiencing a symphony of tastes. So next time someone calls you a picky eater, just tell them it's not pickiness, it's advanced genetic tasting. Your palate is simply operating on a higher, more discerning frequency. Number 8. The missing wisdom tooth mutation. Ever notice how all your friends are complaining about swollen jaws and impending oral surgery while you regest? Existing? It might be because you won the genetic lottery of evolution and simply don't have wisdom teeth. So you heard that right. While most of humanity is cursed with these inconvenient, space-hogging molars that often necessitate painful extraction, a significant portion of the population is completely exempt from this dental drama. This isn't just a happy coincidence. It's believed to be linked to a fascinating evolutionary adaptation, where our diets became softer over millennia, reducing the need for those extra grinding surfaces. While the exact genetic mechanism is still being poked and prodded by scientists, it's generally understood to be a polygenic trait, meaning multiple genes are working together to give you that blissfully empty back-of-the-mouth sensation. So, while your pals are stocking up on ice packs and soft foods, you're free to chew whatever you like, basking in the glory of your superior, wisdom tooth-free oral cavity. Basically, your ancestors were just too good at evolving, leaving you with one less thing to worry about. Number 7. The no body odor. Gene, imagine living a life free from the tyranny of deodorant. No more frantic armpit checks. No more panic about forgetting your antiperspirant before a big meeting. Sound like a utopian dream? For a small, genetically blessed percentage of the population, it's just everyday life. We're talking about a mutation in the ABCC11 gene, a delightful little alteration that basically turns off your body's ability to produce the specific compounds that bacteria on your skin feast on, leading to that all-too-familiar stench we call body odor. These lucky individuals produce very little to no underarm odor, regardless of how much they sweat or how vigorously they hit the gym, while the rest of us are diligently rolling, spraying, and sticky-feeing our armpits. These genetic outliers are basically human odor neutralizers. It's not that they don't sweat, it's that their sweat doesn't become a 5-alarm olfactory emergency. The only real downside? You might spend an awful lot of time gently reassuring concerned friends that, no, you haven't forgotten to apply deodorant, you're just living in the future. Number 6. The alcohol flush reaction. Ever have a single sip of wine and suddenly find yourself sporting a face the color of a ripe tomato, accompanied by a delightful symphony of nausea, dizziness, and a pounding headache? Congratulations, you've likely got the alcohol flush reaction, sometimes charmingly referred to as Asian glow, though it affects people of various ancestries. This isn't just you being a lightweight, it's a very specific genetic hiccup. Your body, usually a diligent detox factory, has a bit of a malfunction in processing alcohol. Specifically, it's a deficiency in an enzyme called aldehyde dehydrogenase 2, LD2. See, when you drink, alcohol is first broken down into acetaldehyde, which is quite toxic. Normally, aldH2 quickly converts this villain into harmless acetate. But if your aldH2 is slacking off, that toxic acetaldehyde hangs around, causing your blood vessels to dilate and triggering all those delightful symptoms. It's basically your body sending you an immediate, undeniable, and very visible memo. Stop drinking, you fool. So while your friends are clinking glasses, you're basically a living, breathing, blushing cautionary tale. Number 5. Gaps in your memory, but not the bad kind. Ever have one of those moments where you just can't recall a specific word or a name, even though it's right on the tip of your tongue? Or perhaps you occasionally find yourself in a room, completely forgetting why you walked in there. Don't panic. You're not instantly developing early onset forgetfulness. In fact, for some, seemingly benign brain glitch might be linked to a slightly different way your brain processes and retrieves information. It's potentially hinting at variations in genes associated with memory consolidation and recall. We're not talking about amnesia here, but rather a unique quirk in the brain's filing system. Imagine your brain as a meticulously organized library, but instead of every single book being in its precise spot, a few rare volumes are sometimes placed on a slightly different shelf, requiring a fraction of a second longer to locate. This isn't a deficit, but merely a different neural pathway for accessing certain data. So, while your friend might instantly recall the name of that obscure indie band, you might need a moment, a visual cue, or even a good night's sleep for your brain to finally cough up the information. It's like your personal retrieval system has a charming, if sometimes inconvenient, habit of taking the scenic route. Number 4. The unbreakable bones. Imagine a life where a nasty fall might result in a bruise, but never a break. Sounds like the stuff of comic book superheroes, right? Well, for a tiny fraction of the population, incredibly dense, practically unbreakable bones are a reality. Thanks to a rare mutation in the LRP5 gene. This gene plays a crucial role in bone density regulation, and a specific mutation can cause it to essentially go into overdrive, resulting in bones that are far denser and stronger than average. These individuals rarely experience fractures, even from severe trauma that would shatter the bones of an ordinary person. It's like their skeletal system is made of high-grade adamantium, rather than standard issue calcium. While this sounds like an unmitigated blessing, it can sometimes come with its own set of minor issues, like nerve compression due to increased bone growth. But generally, it's a pretty sweet deal. So, if you've been living a life of daredevil stunts with nary a cast to your name, you might just be unknowingly carrying the genetic blueprint for a real-life superhero skeleton. Number 2. The genetic pain immunity. Imagine a world where stubbing your toe is just a mild inconvenience, where paper cuts are barely noticed and chronic pain is something you only read about in textbooks. For an incredibly rare few, this isn't a fantasy. It's a reality thanks to a fascinating and sometimes frightening genetic mutation. We're talking about a change in the SCN9A gene, which provides instructions for making a protein critical for nerve cells to transmit pain signals. In some individuals, a specific mutation in this gene can essentially turn down, or even completely switch off, their ability to feel pain. This condition, known as congenital insensitivity to pain, means their bodies don't register the warning signals that protect the rest of us from harm. While it sounds like an incredible superpower who wouldn't want to be immune to pain, it's actually incredibly dangerous. Pain is our body's crucial alarm system, telling us when something is wrong. Without it, these individuals are at a constant risk of severe injury, infection, and even premature death, because they don't know when they're harming themselves. So, while you're wincing over a paper cut, remember that pain, annoying as it is, it's basically your body's incredibly diligent and somewhat aggressive bodyguard. Number 1. The lactose persistence power-up. Have you ever seen someone down a huge glass of milk or devour an entire pizza with extra cheese, and then ... just be fine? No bloating, no cramps, no sudden urgent need to locate the nearest restroom. For a significant portion of the global population, this is a superpower. For the rest, it's a genetic mutation. Historically, most adult humans lost the ability to digest lactose after infancy. Because, well, why would you need to? Milk was for babies. But then, some clever cows came along, in certain human populations, particularly those who embraced dairy farming, developed a genetic mutation that keeps the lactase enzyme active into adulthood. This lactose persistence is essentially your body saying, "More milk, please." Thanks to a mutation in the regulatory region of the LCT gene. If you can enjoy ice cream without immediate regret, you've inherited this relatively recent evolutionary advantage. If not, your body is just sticking to the original, ancient human blueprint. So, while your ancestors might have looked at you oddly for chugging a milkshake past the age of 5, you're just demonstrating a modern genetic marvel. You're basically a dairy-powered evolutionary success story. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.